Da da da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. We are in Christmas week, aren't we? It's absolutely amazing. Is it four more sleepies until we get to wake up Christmas morning, right? Have a celebration, have a get together with those family members that we move on in our lives, and it's not just with our family members, but it's with our close friends and those people that we've had in our lives, our entire lives. I know for myself, I was well into my 30s, I think, when I think I lost contact with my last high school connection. And and this is the thing, we're constantly moving forward and we're constantly changing, and unless we are in each other's lives consistently, you can better believe that we are moving on and moving off into things that interest us in a singular fashion. You know what I mean? That sometimes we can be in that mode of taking care of ourselves, and we kind of lose track of the people and the things that are important to us. Oh my goodness, we've got Owen today. Oh my goodness, Owen is one of my moderators on my show Chatters Live on Sunday night. Christmas Eve, Andrew, right? I hope to see you Christmas Eve. I hope you don't have to work too late. I know it's a busy week for everybody because I don't even have a lot of people in my life, but yet I am scurrying around. In actuality, one of my last tasks at hand is in wishing one of my mentors. And I call him a mentor because at my lowest of lowest, he gave me that opportunity to make a choice, right? To see if it was any way possible that I could put myself back together with a little bit of assistance, knowing, right? Whoever, whatever, helps those who help themselves. And I was not in any state of or frame of mind to be able to even make any movement for myself, make any decisions for myself. And sometimes it's just in that having somebody there to hold your hand in the process that brings about the greatest of changes. And lots of people, even myself, in showing up here fresh like a loaf of bread and spewing my thing and hoping to make an impact or a connection, or right, even bringing on new followers with their own ideas, but because they're hanging with us, they share their ideas. And Andrew has shared so much, and my channel and my brand has been enriched so much because of Andrew's participation and Andrew's contribution to it. And we think sometimes that we have nothing to contribute, and I have to disagree with that, in one of those greatest thought leaders out there, but also an action leader, one who led by their own example. Mother Teresa, right? Said that just smiling is an action. Just smiling is a contribution to somebody else's day, week, year. And even though we think in ourselves it might be minuscule, that we might be impacting somebody's entire life. And I have to say, this gentleman who sees the failures in his classes every session, I think he does 4 or 5 sessions a year, and he brings on people that desperately can use some help, right? But knowing it's through our own choices how we're going to show up to the table, if we're going to even show up to the table. Maybe it's just that couch and that remote control that's drawing us. Maybe it's that those limiting beliefs, and sometimes those coping mechanisms that stop us from taking that first step into, right? That could be our salvation. I got offered an opportunity, right? And through my own choice, it was one of those strings that was dangling in my moment of desperation, my moment of, I don't know how I could survive through this experience. And I clung to that string for dear life, and I promised myself whatever information, whatever little bit of help, whatever little bit of direction that was being offered, I would make that choice to take that help. And that's exactly what I did. I came within couple of days of becoming homeless, and that's the truth. And it was right in the beginning of COVID where we weren't even supposed to be interacting. Everything was locked down. Nobody was working. I have no idea how I managed to hold on to a job full time throughout that entire thing, but the miracles happened into my life because of my choices, because of that little dangled strings being offered to me every once in a while, and in my own desperation, right? And then finally, it's just not out of desperation, but knowing those opportunities and those strings are actually, right, offerings of a little bit of guidance, a little bit of direction. So how is it how is it attached to this? It's a big bag of pencils, advertising pencils, old pencils, new pencils, but nonetheless, just pencils. And I know the impact of this bag of pencils on one of those people that brought me out of the darkness, right? To lead me to a new darkness, but through my own choices, I got out of that one. And in getting out of that one, we were talking about peresquits. That was the peresquit for me in my own choices, not to give up, to find a way to adapt, to conquer, to say yes, to accept a little bit of help, to trust, right? Because lots of us being highly sensitive and empathic, it's hard for us to trust. We've been beaten down so low, so many times that sometimes we get to the point that the only person we trust is ourselves. And sometimes we get to the point where we don't even trust ourselves anymore. Grateful for the lessons along the way. Grateful for the peresquit lessons that led me to the next lessons that led me to the next lessons. But this gentleman was one of those lessons that I took to heart, one of those lessons that impacted my movement forward in a way that he'll probably never understand, right? Because I know where I'm going, right? I have those potentials set in my mind, and because, right, I'm in that wheel now, and I'm moving forward. And yet he might see in his day to day, in those classes that I took myself, people just like me that who could use some help, but just not making those choices. And he sees the failure, he sees the giving up, he sees the dwindling in the attendance of his class, because even in my class we started in over 20, and we're talking about, these were OFE, opportunities for employment, opportunity for Cindy to get back on her feet. It was a moment of me making a choice and me getting a little bit of help, and it led me to the next lessons that led me to the next lessons. And I was already in the process of the lessons, but I was looking and watching for those offerings, those opportunities that I might take that might better my situation. And there was an offering. I accepted it, and through my own choices, I stuck with it, right? Whatever it was, whatever guidance, whatever direction, I was going to follow it. And it was a governmental program, right? It was sponsored, right? Not right? But he was offering a program that is called an addictions modem is what they call it. And right, we get addiction to those limiting beliefs. We get addicted to those no's. We get addicted to right, getting the same answer over and over and over again, and we get addicted to our place that's been dictated by all of that. And in little recognition of possibly, because I see the potential, because I know who I am, and I know that ball is rolling, right? I know that the wheel is turning. I know how far that I can fall back now, right? Because there's a safety net. There's a certain level. And once I've got it, I've got it. And I've got a lot. And I'm grateful for where those lessons have come along. So, in understanding, which was the word this week, we had the word understanding. I'd like to give credit to those things that we don't understand, those impacts that each one of us makes in another person's life, and we don't give it a second thought because we're so focused on where we're not getting it right, in our failures, in those small attendances, in those small classes, and being drawn into the next class without having an opportunity to see where you actually made a difference. So today I'm going to make a difference. I'm going down to OFE and I'm going to see this mentor, this person that possibly, right, might be having a day where they just don't see that movement, where they're making that impact, and they're going to see that impact in me. They're going to see that evidence in me. They're going to see I have not missed a day of work since he got me back on that track, right? And that might be a small achievement for me. That might be a small achievement in the bigger picture, the scheme of things. But he can see in this evidence that what he is doing is making an impact, right? This addictions modem, we know it in my networks as mindset. This is something I would love to see in the school systems because, right, the children are not getting, and it's no ill will and no fault of the parentage, but lots of parents are trying to do it on their own, and they're trying to do it with the lessons in their own lives being missed. And who's got to pick up that slack, right? I think it's going to have to be the school system, right? At the very least, to give that child an opportunity to realize there's in their choices, right? Choices, opportunities, right? A chance to make a difference, if even if it's an only in their own understandings, right? And I got that. I got that at a very early age, and I got that in a reflection of my father's love for me, and maybe he didn't have the confidence in me because he didn't have the confidence in himself, but he was taking those lessons and he was picking up those opportunities, right? Just like I am. And I might miss a lot of them. I suspect that I am, but I'm working at this to the best of my ability with the lessons that I have in my belt, knowing that if I just keep moving forward, those lessons will just keep coming because I'll just keep working on the lessons that are before me in the moment until I finally got it, right? And it'll just keep repeating. I'll just keep getting smacked upside the head until finally it's absorbed. And right, and then those people that have given me those lessons, that have afforded me the moment to be sitting here right now, right, spewing my thing, maybe impacting somebody else, that's a chain reaction, right? That started somewhere, and I'm grateful to have had those people in my life, and not all of them were thought leaders. Some of them were just kind people, like my friend Andrew, who's making his own movement in his own life, right? We all get different lessons, and through our choices, right? We can take more lessons or we can stay where we are, right? But if you feel that you can make an impact, right? Like Andrew shows up on my lives consistently every week and has been for years, right? That he knows what his presence has done for me, right? He's afforded me that knowledge that I know Andrew's going to be there on Sunday. So who else is going to be there on Sunday? Cindy is, right? We hold each other accountable. We keep each other company. And at the same time, we have to look back once in a while to see not just the mistakes that we make, and we pound ourselves with all those mistakes that we made, where we could have been if we had done this. What about all those amazing moments, all those amazing lessons, all those amazing relationships, conversations, and experiences that we had that did make a impact, and we're not giving it any mind at all. So I would like to imprint on somebody's mind today to be the evidence, right? If only for the holidays, if even for the moment of opening up the pencils, that he can take himself away for a moment and really recognize his contribution. It all comes from the lessons, right? One step in front of the other, baby steps. And to each one of us, those steps are going to be a little bit different. Okay, you guys, I'm starting my day right now with the task at hand and then the job that puts the roof over my head in the moment, right? Understanding that opportunities are all around me, and from one moment to the next, it can be different, right? But it's going to be by our choices, because we can be afraid of that moment. We could not have the courage to step forward in that moment, or we can just be stubborn in ourselves, right? Right? Or could be missed lessons, right? Right? But those lessons will keep repeating, which means even though this choice right now is not for right now, you'll get the Peresiquit, just like I did. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer, and we'll see each other tomorrow. Bye bye.